integrating components of agroecology. So the faster we move, the better it is to have sort of a unified message.
So the faster, perhaps you are giving a message to the task force that they need to consider the time issues, that it's not always taking long. But I'm still keeping my building, the task force. No, I think this process was so important. When we went for lunch, we tried to synthesize, tried to summarize things that were coming out of it, trying to pick the actions. And before we came to share those actions, I was called by the think tank out there, our think tank here, to also say we have something to share. And I thought it was important we give them space. Not that they were designed to synthesize this, but they themselves, they had their own discussions and they came up with their proposals. And I thought it was important that we throw them. And I found it very important because through that discussion, the points they've given us, it has opened up Pandora box. One, it has shown how we have to take seriously the process of who makes decisions in this house. It has opened up. It's very, very important. And indeed, this thing we are agreeing on the task force must really take the things that have happened here very serious. Because if it's going to be a team that is not representative, if it's a team that people don't think it represents them, then we will come back to talk about the same things. So it's really an eye-opener what have happened here in this process. But we want to really clear the group that they didn't give themselves mantle, but they just sort of coming up with some ideas. And I'm glad that one of their key ideas is one people have embraced, which is coming up with a task force. And from the discussion, now we are aware that in this task force, we must be given peers, and we must think out how to come up with a representative composition of membership in this task force. So the step that I would have done first, blundered myself and my team, was really to someone to share what we had synthesized. So many of the things that people brought out, really, from discussion, that group and the discussion that's coming out, it's like maybe we were reading from the same book. Because we also picked from the discussion that were taking place that there was really some mention about a task force. And in our synthesis, we also suggest coming up with a task force to advance agroecology agenda in Malawi that has some responsibility and held up accountable in the short term, because they are the ones who are going to take some of the things that we are agreeing here. So maybe year in, year out, we have been making some actions, agreeing on some actions, but there's no one to point a finger at. There's no one to follow up with. So we come back and talk the same things, because there's no that clear task force that has been given to take up things. And in terms of some of the challenges that we thought through which were coming out, this task force will plan and facilitate engagement with stakeholders, including governments, your concerns, to develop agroecology. We were not sure strategy or policy, because it didn't have a consensus in terms of whether it was a process strategy. But we think this task force can work with stakeholders, with government, to plan for this process. That's what we thought as the first thing. And then there was a concern that this task force should not be so much obsessed with strategy or policy. There are important things that have come out of this workshop, which also must be considered. And we picked on things that we were talking of having dialogue sessions, which should continue like we've been engaging here. And this task force could also be facilitating that. There was issues to do, link with ongoing national interventions and programs. So there are things happening out there. And those things, when they're happening, it appears agroecology's voice is not there. There is no one to represent agroecology, and things are happening. And we picked on things like from Tuesday, there was the fertilizer and soil health action plan, There is no agroecology presented in that plan, and it's going on. There was today talk about unified messaging and soil health calendars, which from the panel group, they highlighted. The agroecology team is nowhere to be represented. And we thought this task force could also really help in those linkages. And then the fourth one was there was so much talk about farmer-led research. We need farmer research, farmers to be involved in research on agroecology. We are doing farmer-led research. Roundup was saying that, some organizations saying that, we're working with farmers. But where do we share this information about the research which is being done, the evidence which is being captured, the experiences with the farmer-led research? Where do we share? So we thought the platform, one of the materials, would really to provide that platform for sharing those experiences. And finally, we also had the media people here who were really saying, but there's not much. These things that you talk about agroecology, it's just us. But people out there don't know agroecology. And indeed, this task force would also consider how to facilitate dissemination of information on agroecology in Malawi. So with our limited brain, this is what we tried to come up with from trying to pick from what was being discussed as some of the ideas. I'll pause for now. The process is not yet finished. I'll pause for now. Simple reactions? So we've come from the group, we've engaged as a group, and also we've shared what, also as a small group, synthesized from what was being discussed. And those are part of our propositions. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Frank, the moderator. It's been really a lot of discussion and a lot of things to take in and process. And I would like to agree with you on the linkage of the ongoing interventions and programs, and actually also because all these are coming from the regional frameworks, right? And then we're domesticating them in our own countries. But I think Mwapata, the first day, they had asked us for a chance to be part of the action plan, steering committee on the action plan. And I think it's very important that we take up that chance, that opportunity to push ourselves into it. But the question is now, who do we talk to? Maybe it can be Nyondo himself or so ever, but this now needs to be done as soon as possible, because I know that there is already ongoing discussions and ongoing work that they have already done, and we don't want to miss any more time. Thank you.
Okay. So we really need to take advantage of that. The door is opened, and perhaps the task team would be the one to run, because if we go home, we don't know who's running to the soil action planning platform. But the task team would be given that responsibility for now to go and do that. Yeah. More contributions? Yes?
Yeah, I really wanted to also support point number 4, which says provide a platform for designing and sharing experiences on evidence-based farmer-led. Professor Kambera, during the panel discussion, he did mention that it's high time we take off the conventional research, but instead we should have the participatory, the farmer-led research. In this case, I also believe that point number 4, I think, is the way to go for the task force. Thank you.
Okay. So quiet now. What's happening? Where are my people? Okay. So this, I believe, is not enough. Yeah? For documentation's sake, we need more. Because when you have 5, and we also have some points coming from our think tank, I think everyone must have some kind of a say in this. On your desk, you have green papers, and those green papers are for a purpose, so that we can contribute to the actions. Remember that question that I gave, that when we go for lunch, everyone must think about, if you were just thinking about the chicken, I'm sorry, you're going to draw a chicken, yeah? But no, not a chicken. You're going to put an action there, yeah? So everyone has to say, although we're not going to start asking everyone to share what you have, we are going to collect that as secretariat and also document. So do not be surprised with a list of actions that will come, because some of them will come from the people, and we'll have time to put them together. Of course, some people will be saying the same thing, some will be new, so we'll try to process them, not today, but at least we'll have gathered those actions. Okay? On the paper, you just write not your name, but who you feel you are representing. Yeah? On the paper, just write, I don't want your name or your organization. I'm not interested. Yeah? Of course, if I want some work, I need your organization. But for this exercise, just who are you representing? Are you representing farmers? Are you representing your developers? Are you representing NGOs? Are you representing the private sector? Are you representing the academia? Are you representing researchers? Or you're representing the think tank? Whatever you think you are representing, it's up to you. So this is an individual exercise, okay? And you write, you answer these questions. So, DJ, Nyimbo, what about that thing? Because you don't want to hold around, you don't want people. Someone here. Nyimbo DJ, as people raise these questions, what other actions must be included? What other actions must be included? And yeah, those are just examples of what you put in front. And you, what actions are you going to take? So what actions must be included in that list? And what are you going to do? Kodi ndanda watu jata kambirana uta. Onzerepo chani. Mina alimisa mwana ndiye tumutandi mpata kuti muonjezerepo. Ya komatu watu hawa gakala kukambirana izi. Asina yake chofunika ndi bwana chofunikira kwambiri. Then chatuwisi. Nanga inuyo mukupita tumaliza workshop. Mukuti mumaikonda Agroecology. Mukapakapo chani. Chani chemwe mukachite inuyo. Osade bomba. Bomba. Abunda simutitatiza. Abunda kufanyisha ala tingoseka skuli pale. Ino mukupanda mpaba. Kalifesha kabila kalifesha hizi zibira. If you're finishing, the team will be passing through the desk to get those pieces of paper. And as they are getting the papers, I would request the organizers and people are supposed to be closing to get ready going our final session. think. Okay. Okay, I see some are even taking pictures. Evidence in There's another one? This one? No, it's off. Yeah, it's off. I think it's the power. Okay, so okay, thank you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we've come so far with ideas. Tuesday was full of ideas. We didn't know exactly where we'll end up with. Then on Wednesday, we went to see and appreciate what others are doing. Again there, so much to learn. Today, we've met again to discuss more about what we saw and the issues that are affecting agroecology. And in the end, a clear consensus has emerged about having a task force that will do work for us. Of course, we need support, but at least there's direction that we have come up with in this meeting. I think at that juncture, it will not good to continue talking and talking. Maybe it's time to go for action and close this meeting. But before the meeting is closed, we need a blessing. We started with a blessing from the government, but now it's the civil society to also bless the meeting at the end of it. And this time, I would like to call upon Kona Malawi. Kona Malawi is the head of portfolio for climate change and gender. He oversees a portfolio of countries, programs, and coordinates organizational work on climate justice, environmental sustainability, and gender equality. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite Kona Malawi from Trokea to close this meeting. Kona, please.
Thank you so much. I'm actually going to have my colleague Wamuya Manyara come and speak on behalf of Chokra.
No.
So thank you for that kind introduction.
Thank you, no worries. Yeah. Okay. I think the mic is on, so you can, yeah, sure. Yeah,
Thank
please.
you. Sorry for the quick change. My name is Wamoyo Manyara. I work with Chokra as the country director, and as you can see, we have been supporting this particular process, and it's my pleasure just to give a few remarks towards the end of the meeting. For me, it's really encouraging to see so many brilliant minds, and not just the brilliance, but the commitment to agroecology. Chokra has been in the country for about 30 years, but probably more like 18 with an office. A lot of our work has been around food security, and agroecology has been a major part of our work. So from the beginning of the meeting, I think it has been clear that we are all faced with a number of challenges, some of them unique to Malawi, but a lot of them way beyond our control and way beyond just this country. There are real issues such as climate shocks that we have experienced. There are real issues around just the direction that the globe is going in terms of whether it's funding for this kind of interventions, whether it's actual food production in the country and beyond, whether it's costs of agricultural inputs such as fertilizers and other inputs as well. You know, these are harsh realities that we are having to deal with on a daily basis. And of course, there's the overarching, of course, issue around gender and the fact that food security affects women and children disproportionately. And Chokra is working around those issues as well. I'd just like to note that all of us are doing something small, but one of the things that we have noted over the 3 days is that it seems that we are in silos. A lot of the work that we are doing is fragmented, and this kind of forum allows us to think how we can do things differently. Chokra traditionally works with partners, local organizations, and agroecology gives us the opportunity to harness already existing knowledge, indigenous knowledge, and looking at the kind of resources that we have, limited resources. It's critical that we look at what we do have. A lot of times we focus on what we don't have and forget a lot of what we have, a lot of indigenous knowledge. This week we had farmers sharing with us what they're doing within their own means. Also, we see the soil that we have. We had a lot of discussions around the soil and the fact that it is not hopeless. There's a lot of productivity that we can get out of it. It's clear then, just from our discussions, that we need to develop research that speaks to what we are talking about, to develop the evidence that we are talking about, to be able to sit at the tables that we are talking about and share. You know, we are talking about policy, we are talking about strategy. Should we have a policy? Should we have a strategy? But a lot of times we get caught up in a lot of processes and forget, you know, the end game in terms of what is it we want to see in place, what is it that we're already doing, how can we harness that information and digest it and share it beyond us so that it becomes a community of practice. I think there's no, we've gone through the whole week seeing that there's no right or wrong. All of us have very unique and brilliant ideas that are working towards ensuring that Malawi is food secure. So for me, it's just to continue encouraging us, but look at the actions, and it's great that we have come up with the whole issue of the task force. I would say just like the task force, I mean, I'm looking at that table, but we've said it's not that table. I think it's all of us who are being given the opportunity to participate in something that goes beyond talk, goes to action. And I'm encouraging or challenging us to go quickly to the next steps where we are actually putting our words into action. Can we get this task force together? What is the TOR that this task force is going to do? What do we hope to achieve? We've talked about a lot of what we would hope to achieve. All I'd say is that Chokra is definitely part of that. We will encourage our own. We will participate in whatever processes the next steps will take. And we will support our partners and communities, some of whom are represented here, because we believe in the voice and influence of those who are actually affected. So as we go to the next steps, thank you all for your great participation, and thank you. I'd like to thank also the portfolio manager, who's also taking back feedback to other forums that this is what is going on in Malawi, and it's exciting to see all that is going on here. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam. Another hand, a strong hand, please. Thank you. Thank you. All right, and I'm also seeing the light on my part now. I'll have to go and sit down. But before I go to sit down, Nuzenji, it's just a word of thank. I told you 1 minute of just thanking, nothing else. You still want to go up? Yeah.
Sorry. I am so happy. You can even see in my face that I'm so relieved that something that we've been planning for so many months, it's finally done. And we've had so much that we've discussed. This has been, like, for me and my team, a very successful process. And I would love to know and understand that beyond here, we're not going to sit back, just sit somewhere waiting for someone to shake us, but we're going to be proactive to work on the action points that we have had throughout this process. Now, lastly, I want to thank the organizing team for all this time until today. It's not only today, please remember tomorrow we have the Sustain Fest, and this one is open. Bring the kids, bring everyone else, and come and celebrate with us. Celebrate our local food system, celebrate the local seeds, and get something out of it. Thank you so much for coming and honoring this invite, and see you next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Nozenji. It's the youth in power at the moment. Chifundo, do you want to sell this Sustain Fest? Do you want to sell it? Because I know Nozenji has just passed through, but do you want to sell it so that people can attend?
Thank you very much. So I just wanted to brief you a little bit about tomorrow. This week you've been sitting in the conference room, you've gone to the field, and tomorrow you're going next door to the stadium to enjoy traditional local food, dances, local delicacies. You are going to enjoy local seed. Bring money because you should buy all of the seed. You're going to see seed you've never seen before. You are going to also get a chance where this year we have live demonstrations. We have cooking demos for all your traditional foods. Like, for example, you are going to get, cornflakes, right? But you're going to know how to make millet flakes for your breakfast. So simple things like that that are going to be demonstrated there, how to make them. We're also going to have live demonstrations of how to make certain biofertilizers, all those things. So tomorrow, technically the program starts at 9, but from 8 o'clock, we'll be having aerobics. We want to support healthy lifestyles. So those who want to, exercise and jog around, you can come for aerobics Yeah, in the morning from 8 to 9, and then 9 o'clock the official program starts. There will also be another panel discussion. There are more farmers at Sustain Fest, so just to get more farmers involved in the discussions like we've had today. So yeah, as they say in English, come one, come all. So bring your kids. There will also be jumping castle for the kids. Yeah, it's quite exciting. I will not preempt everything. Some things should be a surprise for you to see tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So you've heard, if you want to stand for long hours like myself, come for running, yeah? So, because you can't stand if you are not fit, yeah? It means I'm fit, right? Yeah? But I've been here because I've been encouraged by you guys. You've been such a wonderful audience, good participants, contributing meaningful points, contradiction. I like the contradictions because it's boring when people just agree and agree. It's exciting when people don't agree. Yeah, I really, really thank you so much for this wonderful time, and it's always an experience. And just to give a hand to ourselves for such a wonderful workshop. All right, otherwise, I'll say that's the end of it. There is tea there at the back, and at the moment, DJ Nyimbo.
Let us also give a big round of applause to our facilitator. He has been so excellent.
Hello. A closing prayer, please. How could we do that? Just pray.
All right, let us pray, even though we can pray while standing, even though others are sitting. Let us pray. Lord, our Father, we come before you this time of the day. We would like to appreciate and give you thanks for the good time we've had from Tuesday up to today, and we know the event is still ongoing with the Sustain Fest tomorrow. We ask you that, Lord, please guide us as we'll be returning to where we're lodging.